Welcome to the second instalment of Radio Race Car International Live. We've got a superb fun-packed show for you, featuring both on and off-road action, a celebration of the magnificent Mini, and lots more, including some of the hottest RC fashions around. But first, always on the search for something new, we tracked down some RC speedheads who race at an international cycling velodrome. These guys are fast.
I bought a car for my young lad, but unfortunately I went round to a few places and they weren't up to standard for racing cars. And then I saw a program on the TV about the National Cycling Centre. And then I put two and two together and thought perhaps this could be a good venue.
Well, the first I knew about this kind of racing was when I picked up a national newspaper, and in the one corner of the page there was a small advertisement for the velodrome event that was to be held on the 31st of August 1997. And I hadn't heard anything about this event on the grapevine, so I phoned the telephone number and spoke to Bernard. When I first walked into the arena, the first time I came here, I looked around myself and I just nearly fell over backwards because it was so large. I couldn't imagine my little model car being visible even on a circuit this big.
You have the excitement of the cars going at fast speeds, and you also have that possibility of an accident happening at any second.
It's such a buzz. You're so far away from the actual car itself. It's the hand-eye coordination. You've got no sharp corners as such, but obviously the bank, even at the low level of the circuit, you have got a distinctive kink in the track. 43 degrees at the top. So therefore you've got to try and counteract that as you're actually, going along the track. But a good racing line is preferably between the red line and the black line, so you're not covering as much distance. But generally, for coming around the back end of the circuit, because you're actually so far away from where you stand, I try to be between the blue and the red. Well, this is where we actually stand up when we're racing. Obviously, we need the highest vantage point that we've got, and this is possibly it, next to the timing machine. Your normal racing, your normal circuit racing, your off-road racing, you would not be this far away from your car. So therefore, it sort of definitely specifies on your electrics and everything else you're running at the time.
If the drivers are not in control of those cars, one split second and they will spin on this track and they will be out of control, and that's a car written off, which can be quite expensive for the lads who are driving the cars.
Well, I race a scale saloon. I've no doubt a lot of your viewers understand what one of these is. But my particular brand is the M1 Racing Express. It's a four-wheel drive car with a twin belt transmission, 2 differentials in it, and full-time four-wheel drive. Currently, at the moment, I've only raced it in here to full BRCA regulations, with the car at its full running weight, etc., etc. but I do think there could be something to be gained if I was to make some effort to strap more NiCad batteries into it and probably take away some of the transmission and make it even more efficient. I think straight line speed at the moment is being restricted by the power that the motors can generate. I've made a special effort with the gear ratio because I've geared it slightly higher than, well, a good deal, nearly twice as high in fact, as I would normally gear it on the biggest tracks in the UK. As I say, I think the motors are I know the motors are getting too hot because it damages them to a small extent. You can race for 5 minutes quite happily, but if you want to do a one-lap flying run, it's going to basically burn a set of brushes away. I have spent a long time working out which tyres are the best ones on this surface though, because it's a unpolished bare wooden floor, and with the slope on even on the straight where I am now, when you accelerate with the car, if the wheels spin at all, the car will just do that and end up facing up the hill. Now unusually, when the car's facing straight up the hill, the weight of the car is pressing straight down on all the tyres and you can actually drive the car straight up the hill. It's only when you be that way that the weight is no longer straight down on the tyres and the traction gets a little more difficult to find, especially in the steeply banked corners, and you just can't pull away. Yeah, this happens all the time. So I've used the softest rubber tyres I've got.
Right, I've got sort of normal run-of-the-mill training shoes on, just to show you actually how steep it is. I will attempt to get to the top. Does that tell you anything about just the steepness? I'm not going to even try any further, but it is 43 degrees up there and very, very high.
Mock races with as many as 6 cars on the track at once, and when they all set off they're all relatively close together, but soon enough they all begin to spread out, and then once they spread out there's so much space on this track that you feel as though you're running on your own again.
It's nothing like any other racing. It is completely different to circuit racing. The tyres, the car setup, the motors, the ratio.
But once this kind of racing takes off, and I'm pretty sure it will, then you'll have a lot more close racing to see, and it should be good. As I say, at the moment, the racing is not the main thrill. The main thrill is just going absolutely as fast as you possibly can.
The next event is going to be held in the summertime. We're going to be setting up a club, which is going to be called Speedrome Velodrome Racing Club. Memberships will be available. If people are interested in joining the club, they should contact or fax myself, which numbers will be produced in your magazine. I would envisage the World Championships being held here in the year 2000, without a shadow of a doubt. Watch this space.
Those of you who saw the first Radio Race Car International live might remember a section featuring Peter Emery, our then editorial manager. Well, Pete's dropped into the hot seat as full-time Radio Race Car editor now, so let's see what he's got to say for himself.
I see my role as editor of Radio Race Car International as one of having some sort of vision for the magazine, some sort of coordinating vision. It's my job to make sure that the magazine has a good balance between the on-road material, the off-road material, the sport and leisure drivers, and also the committed racers. And to that end, I try to arrange for the best writers within each area that I can get, and just generally try to keep a balance. People have asked me, do I have any changes in mind for the magazine? And the answer is a qualified yes. Basically, it's a winning formula, so you don't want to change it. But my view, the magazine needs to live up to the international part of Radio Race Car International just a little more. And to that end, I've taken on some new writers. You'll see some material this year from a guy called Paul Sana from Austria. I've got Alfonso Pareles covering Spain and Portugal for me. Mike Myers we already know about in the States, and 2 more American writers will be coming on board. Generally you'll see much more of an international flavour to the magazine, but we won't be neglecting the domestic scene at all. I've got some new features planned. Basically, one of the things I want to do during this year, and space is always a problem, I'd like a 200-page magazine rather than 100, but one of the things I want to do is to focus on clubs like this one here. Look at the characters who turn out wet and windy Saturdays, wet and windy Sundays in the middle of the winter and run winter rounds, miss their summer holiday to run summer rounds. The real characters around the clubs who are there week in, week out for the thousands and thousands of races here. Not just here, I'll be covering clubs in abroad as well. So Club Watch will start to appear in the next few issues and give a little bit of a pat on the back to these hard-working folk. Benchmark is a new area of testing components, motors, batteries and so on. We've already introduced some new items. We've actually got a reader's letters page at last. Never had one before. We've got reverse gear, where we're looking back at 10 and 5 years ago in Radio Race Car. Radio Race Car's been going a long time. We'll soon introduce 15 years ago in Radio Race Car. One thing I would like to see is more of the readers out there sending in material for the magazine, starting to become regular writers. And the best way for somebody to start as a writer on race car is to write a review of the last car they built, or write up a race meeting, even though it's not going to be printed, and send it in with some photographs and show what they can do. And if we find somebody who's written a particularly good technical article or a particularly good how-to, they'll become a regular contributor very fast indeed. Always looking for new material. The Radio Race Car Drivers Club is a new innovation for 1998. Really, basis of the concept is to try and get the regular racers and the regular readers closer to the magazine. It's our way of saying, come on, your most important part of the magazine is the readers. You join with us, be part of us. And we hope to have lucky dips, competitions, special offers, all sorts of things to make people feel part of the Radio Race Car family. I think the Drivers Club is something that we should have done years ago. I think people will find a huge benefit being members. To become a member of the Radio Race Car Club is very straightforward. If you're already a subscriber to Radio Race Car, and a large number of people are, thank goodness, then the easiest thing to do is to ring Traplet House, and talk to the marketing department, mention your subscriber account number, and you're a member. It's as simple as that. We'll send you out the membership pack. No cost, no fuss, you're a member. If you want to join and you're not a subscriber, then you pay £6.50 to join the club. You get the same welcome pack will be sent out to you with decals and membership club card and so on. If you decide in the following 3 months that you really can't live without Radio Race Car dropping through your door within minutes of being printed, and you desperately want to become a subscriber, we'll take £6.50 off your subscription. So in effect, your Drivers Club membership was free in the same way as an existing subscriber would be. So well worth considering straight away. Okay, another good place to find out information about the Radio Race Car magazine and the Drivers Club, latest press releases and so on and so forth, is to find us on the World Wide Web. And you will find us here. So just put that into your browser, your Exploder or your Netcape or whatever it is, and punch in that number, and away you go, you'll find Radio Race Car. I think 1998 is going to have quite a lot of excitement. I think probably the most exciting thing for the UK racers has to be the fact that we've got both World Championships and European Championships happening in England this year. That's a terrific focus for all of the races in the UK. There'll be races over from America, from Europe, from the Pacific Rim. We'll be able to see how the British drivers match up against the very, very best in the world, and we can see it locally. So no foreign trips for me this year, it's Teesside. Okay, I've got my new radio control car here. Just do a quick systems check. Left, right, accelerate, brake. Right, okay, let's take it away.
If you'd like to try your hand at writing a feature or a report for Radio Race Car International, then send an example of your work to our editorial offices at the address shown. Still to come in the show, we've got our fantastic look at the magnificent Mini. Also coming up, we have a preview of the 1/12 scale on-road World Championships to be held in the UK this year.
If I was to win again, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know what I'd do. I don't think it'd sink in for at least a couple of weeks. So all the hard work would have paid off if I do win.
I'd be very proud, really. I mean, it doesn't mean anything financially, or it's really like your ambition, if you like, when you get into this sport or hobby, is to be world champion. It means that you can't get any higher.
We also take a look at the thrills and spills of stadium truck racing.
The most exciting part, as soon as you get the truck fired up, I mean, it gives you a buzz straight away. And you know you've got far too much power than what you need. That's the buzz you get, because you can use the power and obviously mess your racing up.
Plus, we've put the combined talents of the Radio Race Car International team together to bring you another of our top 10 tips. To race at your best, you've got to look good. So here's the Radio Race Car team with a selection of some of the coolest RC gear around. This year, the UK hosts the World Championships for both Pro 10, 112th on-road and scale saloons. Here's a guy who knows what it's like to win a World Championship.
My name's David Spashett, come from the southeast of England, driving for Trinity. They're my main sponsors. Here to talk about the World Championship. Actually started when I was about 4 and I'm now 21, so I've been in it quite a long time. Started 12 scale probably 12 years ago now, and in '94 actually became the world champion, so it's pretty good and I'm really looking forward to this one this year.
My name is Chris Hardesty. I'm the current chairman of the BRCA. The BRCA is the British Radio Car Association. We're proud to be hosting the IFMAR World Championships this summer in Temple Park, South Shields in July. This event will consist of 3 championships, the World Championships in 1/12 and Pro 10 and a World Cup in the international scale touring cars. This event will be running from July the 10th to July the 25th. To the sport, this is the greatest show on earth as far as radio control racing is concerned. This is where every driver wants to be, and this is what every driver wants to win. All the drivers in this country should be heading up there to go and see the finest racing available.
Winning it a second time would be unbelievable. Winning it the first time was really good, but now to win it again, now I appreciate what it takes to win, would just be out of this world.
My name's Phil Davis. I race for Team Associate, an American company, and Reedy, and Jayco, who supply me with tyres, LRP, who supply me with electronic speed controls, and Orion for their batteries. I got started really because I didn't get into flying. My father was a pilot. He was an instructor during the war, and I really wanted to get into model flying when I was a kid. And I was introduced to a model car club through a local shop. And when I saw the racing, it was like really captivating because the cars raced so close, they were so fast. So that really hooked me. And I think it was within a week I bought a car and I was racing. It was really good.
What would you say the most exciting part of this racing is?
Oh, just when you race against the people, when it's really, really close. And just down to the wire, when you cross the line together, it's like, well, who won? And it's just down to the timing equipment and tells you. And when it's that close, it's just, there's no buzz better.
Well, it's definitely the closeness of the racing. It's that's the bit that actually, like, I think hooks people. A lot of men in particular, and you see there's a lot of boys and men that are racing. It's something I think they find more interesting perhaps than the females and their competitive nature. But it's really that, it's racing wheel to wheel and showing that you're better in some way.
How long does it take you to prepare for a race?
For a national, probably a day, only a day, because most of the hard work's already been done. You know what you're going to do, you have your plan set out, and then you just carry it out. It doesn't take long at all.
How do you see the UK drivers at the World Championships?
I think it's their best chance ever. With it being in England and everything is as we're used to, this is their best chance to prove themselves and show themselves on a world scale. This is it, this is their chance.
How long does it take you to prepare your car for a race?
It really depends on the standard of race that I'm preparing for. For a club race, I'm probably would spend no time. It's just a case of loading up the car. But for a national race, I'd make sure that I've got body shells cut out, stickered up, in good condition, tyres. So that would take for a national probably somewhere between 2 and 8 hours preparation time. But for bigger races like a European Championships or World Championships, where you may have a new car that needs building, then you could probably double that time. I'd prefer to run a car that I know. That way it's, you're confident with it, rather than building something up from scratch you're not sure with and how it responds to the adjustments that you make.
Who do you think will win the 1/12 World Championships?
Obviously me. There are some very, very good Americans. Joel Johnson, one of my teammates, he's very, very quick. But probably the best driver at the moment ever is Masami Hirosaka, who's been 9-time world champion. I mean, you can never rate him out. I mean, he could do it. He could do it again.
Obviously, one of the hottest favourites will be Masami Hirosaka, a multiple world champion in multiple disciplines. He is a complete package.
It's very difficult to actually make a prediction. It's like anything in racing. I could nominate a few guys that I think will be up for a shout at winning, and that's the current world champion, which is Masami Hirosaka. David Spashit will be very strong, and Joel Johnson from America will be very strong.
John Orr, Phil Davis from England, Andy Griffiths from England. Then you've got some other Europeans like Oscar Janssen, Eric Jonk, Marcus Mobers. So, I mean, you could probably name up to 30 people that on the day could win. And you've just got to make sure you're just that little bit quicker.
I think I've got a chance of probably making the top 10 would be great. I've made World Championship A finals before and put the car on the front row, but of late my form hasn't been that good. So, I mean, if things come together, yeah, I could be in for a shout.
Main rival, Joel Johnson. I raced against him probably 2 months ago in America. In practice, we were about even. Come race day, different league. He just absolutely blew everybody's doors off. He was really special. He was really special. If I was to win again, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know what I'd do. I don't think it'd sink in for at least a couple of weeks. So, all the hard work would have paid off if I do win.
I'd be very proud, really. I mean, it doesn't mean anything financially, or it's just, for me personally, it's really like your ambition, if you like, when you get into this sport or hobby, is to be world champion. It means that you can't get any higher.
Everyone loves the Mini. Its success has been phenomenal. There are owners' clubs, books, videos, you name it. And of course, there's lots and lots of models. We took our cameras out to track down some of the finest radio-controlled models of the Mini in the whole world. First up is the Mardiv Mini Racer. This 1/12 scale model is powered by 4 cells and provides minimum fuss and maximum value. It's a great indoor carpet racer and it costs almost no money at all. It cannot fail to please. This little beauty is the HPI Rs4 Nitro. It's a 10th scale model, and its .12 size glow plug engine delivers the power to all 4 wheels through a belt drive system. It gives you maximum fun, and it sounds good too. Next up is the Schumacher Wildcat Turbo Mini. This monster mini is very, very tough and terrific fun. But here's a warning, don't take this car too seriously, it's just seriously good fun.
Learn to drive, buddy.
This beautiful scale model is the Tamiya Rover Mini Cooper. It's 1/10 scale and runs off a standard 6-cell pack. It's front-wheel drive, and the famous Tamiya M chassis makes this a truly superb model. The Kyosho Mini Cooper Mark I is also 1/10 scale and is powered by an awesome .12 full start engine. Along with the Tamiya, this is one of the nicest scale models and is great fun with a genuinely zippy engine which is perfectly in character for a Mini Cooper. Now we're going up a scale. The Compagnucci Mini Cooper is 1/8 scale and is driven by a 2-stroke petrol engine with an external electric starter. This is a big car that offers big fun. The Compagnucci is big, but the Lauterbacher is bigger still. This quarter-scale beast is blasting the track by a big 2-stroke pull-start engine. This incredible piece of engineering proves that sometimes bigger is better. So that was Radio Race Car International's look at this classic car, and I think you'll all agree that the magnificent Mini offers maximum fun. Tyre choice can make or break a racer's chances, but getting the selection right isn't always easy, so here's Radio Race Car's top 10 tips to help you choose the right tyres. Number 1. Keep a log of all your races, taking careful note of which tyres you used and how they performed. And don't forget to record the track conditions, and it won't be long before you have an invaluable reference file for future races. Number 2. If other racers have chosen tyres which are performing better than yours, then don't be shy, ask them what they're using. Most people will be happy to help. We can all learn from other racers. Number 3. It's not just people at your own club you can learn from. By keeping a careful eye on the tech charts in every issue of Radio Race Car International, you can gain a valuable insight into the tyre choices that the world's top drivers make. Number 4. When choosing tyres, remember it's the right amounts of grip you're looking for, not necessarily the maximum grip. Number 5. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you need to have a set of every type of tyres on the market. Unless you're planning to win the World Championship, a reasonable selection is all you'll need. Number 6. Most tyre manufacturers produce guides which will tell you what conditions each of their tyres is designed for. Follow their advice. These guys know what they're talking about. Number 7. Don't forget about foam inserts. Many tyres need to have a well-trimmed and fitted foam insert to work properly. It's no use having the right tyres if you forget to use inserts or fit them badly. Number 8. Take great care when gluing your tyres to your wheels. You're going to feel pretty stupid if you lose a race because one of your tyres falls off. Number 9. Use your practice sessions as times to experiment with different tyre combinations, and you'll find out what works best for you. You'll learn much more about tyre selection if you take time to experiment. And finally, number 10. Don't forget to always keep your tyres together in matching pairs and clearly mark exactly which type of tyres they are. Nothing's more frustrating than not being able to find a tyre you know will win. Off-road racing trucks have been immensely popular in the USA for some time now. Over here in Europe, however, they've taken a little longer to catch on. But right now, more and more people are realizing just how much fun they really are.
7, 2, 10, 6, 5.
When we went to events last year and the previous year, there were many people who said they wanted to go nitro truck racing. And only with 2 and 3 people turning up at various heats and events, they actually, nobody actually put heats on. So when I talked to 2 or 3 people and got it together, we then managed to organise a little tournament. The first one we had 15 people turning up. And that has progressed on from there. That every couple of races or events we've had, they have been 2 heats of nitros, and we've had a solid tournament. We've run 8 rounds, and this is the final. And of that, we have had enlisted 36 people, and there are 30 today who turned up for this event.
There are 2 types of off-road trucks you can race: the electric trucks or the IC powered trucks. At the top of the IC truck racing scene is Steve Haynes.
Most exciting part, as soon as you get the truck fired up, I mean, it gives you a buzz straight away. And you know you've got far too much power than what you need. That's the buzz you get, because you can use the power, and obviously less you're racing up. I also do the 8th Rallycross, which I take more serious than the trucks itself. The truck's like a getaway. You do the trucks, great people, you have a good laugh, and that's the reason really.
Representing the electric-powered truck scene is Andy Benson. Andy's probably best known for his writing skills in Radio Race Car International magazine.
I actually started off writing for Radio Race Car many years ago, about 10, 12 years ago, before it was Radio Race Car International. And that was just when I used to drive the 2-wheel drive buggy class. Now with the electric stadium truck class, my column, Andy's Big Wheels, about the last 2 years, I think, I've been writing for you. This class of racing, the electric stadium trucks, I find basically it's got a lot of things going for it. The trucks are very close, the ability of the drivers is very close. And as you've seen maybe from some of the racing here today, you've actually got very close racing, trucks very close together, fast, they can jump well together, and a bit of contact here and there, but it's obviously non-contact. But it's fun, that's the biggest thing about it.
We have in this tournament here, we've got 11-year-olds and 40, I think 3 14-year-olds, and we've also got 2 or 3 beginners here today, which are so evidence how good they are.
Nathan, you're the youngest driver here today, I gather. How old are you?
11.
You're 11. How long have you been racing?
About 2 years now.
2 years, and that's with what, the buggies?
Yeah, and the electric truck.
And the electric trucks. So what made you get a gasser, a nitro truck?
Well, I just like nitro trucks, and Dad went and bought one, so I thought I might race it.
All right. Did he buy it for himself?
Yeah, but I
started
using it, yeah. But it's an RC10 GT, and I got the OS Max engine in it, the new one.
What's the most exciting part about racing them?
Oh, gotta be driving it.
Yeah. Which bit though? Is it the start or is it during the race?
It's during the race, I like, because you get speed and yeah, you have to compete with other drivers.
Well, I remember the first time I got mine, and it was the first time I actually tried to start an IC engine, and I had problems starting it, and you get a bit frustrated. I mean, the main thing is, don't worry, it's going to start in the end. You can't do that much damage anyway. Just take your time. It'll all come together in the end, and don't panic. You know, it's a fun sport. I mean, even if it takes you a couple of days to suss everything out, it'll all come together. Favourite track? Got to be the Kidderminster track, I think. The only thing the Kidderminster track's lacking is a nice long straight for the trucks. The track design, they can get a really good track design out of what they've got, but they're just lacking a decent length straight, so we can get them really wound up then. Yeah.
Favourite track to race on is a track very similar to this one here at Kidderminster. It's a track at Brandon, just outside Coventry, run by the Brandon Model Car Club. Slightly larger than this, but not as many bumps. That's my favourite circuit. I love it there. How do you start? Firstly, buy the best equipment you can. You haven't got to go out and buy brand new equipment. If anyone tells you that, that's a myth. My truck is 4 years old. It's won the last 2 meetings. Okay, it's not quite on the pace here today, but it's still very competitive. Buy the best you can. Go second hand. It's the best way to learn, and you're going to get something that's obviously proven, tried and tested. Don't try and go quick your first time you go racing. Try and drive consistently. Consistency is the best way to do it. That's always the best way to go. You're not going to win any races by doing 10 quick laps and crashing. If you do 11 reasonably quick laps, you might win. Consistency, that's what I always tell beginners. Best thing to do.
I'm Brian Duggan. I'm the chairman of the BRCA 1/10 off-road section. The full BRCA is just over 6,000 members. Now, I'm the off-road section, and we've got 4,300. That's by far the largest part of the membership. The main benefits of BRCA membership is the insurance cover, so that when you're operating your model car anywhere, either at a race meeting, out in the street, abroad, anywhere at all, at any time, you are covered if you cause any damage to either people or property. So that's got to be the #1 benefit. The second one is, by being a member, you can take part in all these competitions and championships and get your formula licenses. Then there are peripheral benefits, such as discounted hotel deals for weekends when you're racing, and cheap membership of the RAC breakdown cover, and a few others. If I said it was just £6 for a whole year, that covers all that insurance and your membership and these 6 copies of Circuit Chatter being sent to you and the rule book and your right to vote, I reckon £6 is about as cheap as you're going to get.
For more information about the BRCA, check out their advert in every issue of Radio Race Car International. Or why not take a look at their website at http:// www.brca.org. No matter what country you live in, it's always a good idea to join your national association. These organisations are what keep RC racing alive and well all across the globe. Ask about your national association at your local club or model shop. So, how do you find out more information about RC truck racing?
They call me and I'll be delighted to help. Telephone number 01 527 542 686. Give me a call, day or night, answer phone, we will contact you back and give you some information, put you in contact with people who race in your area, and we'll be delighted to help.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. And don't forget to read Radio Race Car International magazine every month.